We're going to talk to you about the standards. When we talk about design, we're going to show you all sorts of elements of how value engineering, the things that you can do to your house to perhaps control costs in the house. But those are also construction standards that if you decide to adapt any of those techniques, they all have to be documented in your standards. And in a sense, instead of sending out elaborate 150-page requests for proposals to our trade contractors and our suppliers, etc., what we want to do instead is we want to have them all documented in a production manual of some sort. Do we have one in the back? Russell, get one. We have a template one. And with standard details, etc. We have to have those. Otherwise, we have no way for us to measure what our cost truly is. If we say, well, this guy is cheaper. He only charges me $2.75 a square foot for whatever it is. This guy's more expensive. It's $3 a square foot. May not be apple-to-apple comparison. Thank you. Absolutely true. Production manual. So some sort of a... this one's got scopes of work in it that tells, for the labor guys what they're supposed to do. Others should have, details of how things go together for pictorials, etc. You need to have that kind of information documented. Now, custom builder says, well, wait a minute, I don't ever build the same house twice. How can I have production manual? Well, you can frame the house. You're going to frame every house. If you're in a market that's predominantly frame construction, you're going to frame every house. It may be different. It may have curved walls. It may have, so you have a section in there. Every time I do a curved wall, this is what I use. This is what I want you to quote for me if you're the guy who's going to come in and do the curved walls for me. This is the materials I want to use. We're going to show you some examples of things over the next couple of days that you could put into your standards. From the production standards that we've established, we pull them right into our subcontract agreements. Now, in some cases, our subcontract agreements for production builders, again, one way for production to be more efficient than custom and therefore have to be able to charge less, is that our trade contractor agreements can be across the board. They can be for a whole community. They can be for a period of time. We used to write our trade contract agreements for a year. They were good for a minimum of 1 year. That's the way it was. Every place that we built, and we built, because we built in multiple locations, never even in a subdivision type environment of our own subdivision. We might have built multiple houses in a subdivision, but it wasn't our community. These guys knew that they were traveling. And so what did we build into ours? We built in standard zone charges and said if you build it within this territory on a map, it was this price. If you build it in this next ring of zone, it was the price plus some flat fee. If you build it in, zone 3, zone 4, etc., all the way out, because we were traveled great areas. But everybody knew going in that that was, what we did. So we were looking, if we were looking for bids, we were looking for your bid for the base price, and then we would add this factor to it if you had to go from location to location. So we try to lock them in for a minimum of a year. From the subcontract agreements, then you have to have a system for drafting, designing the house, getting all the working drawings, everything that you need to submit to the bank and to the building permit people, but most importantly, to the trade contractors who are going to build and erect the house. That's the people who, really need this information on here. Then we've got our estimate that has to come out of there. And we have to have, if the estimating department doesn't understand this part right here, can we accurately estimate exactly what's going to go into that home? Of course not. So everything starts up here with this. Purchasing, same thing. We can't buy the stuff correctly. And scheduling, that comes in and we had standard schedules. Well, the standard schedules are based upon what type or what product lines you might be offering. Or in a custom environment, what house. Maybe your schedules are established based upon the size of the house, the scale of the house, or individually by house by house by house. That you get together with your construction management team and you figure out, this particular project or house is going to take us 210 days to build. This one should take us this, and here's the schedule.